Welcome, traveler. You are now listening to Castle Black, the blackest House of Dragon podcast in all the realms.
Castle Black by For All Nerds is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcast, live events, website, and more, are independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
Castle Black. So this is the seat of the Night's Watch.
And welcome, internets, to another episode of Castle Black, the blackest House of Dragon podcast in all of the realms, powered by For All Nerds, where we discuss everything in the worlds of Game of Thrones from the perspective of people of color. And this week we're mixing it up a little bit. It is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, aka the Lord of Lightsabers, and I am joined, triumphantly returning, my friend Chica. Chica, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I am back. This is Chica, aka Chica Supreme, aka the Sea Snake's Loctician, aka not your praying stepmama, aka say no to Krabby Patties.
Okay, so we're gonna have to ask about this. We're gonna have to ask about those two. We are here to talk all things episode 2 of House of Dragon. Now, that's another thing. Black people are so interesting. The name of this series is House of the Dragon. But we, because that's what we do, decide to just drop all the extra words and just call it House of Dragon. Or y'all watching that dragon show? Like, that's what my aunt asked me the other day. And I was just like, ma'am, it's called House of Dragons. Let's get it right. I just love how Black people just rename things. But yes, we are here to talk all things episode 2 of the House of Dragon. Unleash the Dragon. Episode 2, titled The Rogue Prince. Directed by, and please don't kill me for mispronunciation, but directed by Greg Yaitanes and written by Ryan Condal. So, just overall, before we get into kind of the specific details, what did you think of this episode, Chica?
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
I mean, the first episode was a lot, especially like with Emma and her being cracked open like a watermelon.
Girl.
And stuff to get that baby out, and then they both died. But then this episode, y'all trying to marry children?
I mean, I'm with you. And it was a lot for me clearly that, but from a larger perspective, just this episode was the jumping off point to a lot of the bullshit that's going to happen for the rest of this series. I'm not even sure how many episodes. Do you know how many episodes? Are we talking about like 10 or 13 episodes at this point?
I think it's 10, but I might be wrong.
Okay. This is clearly, I mean, besides like child brides, not listening to the black man, a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to get into, is really going to be the catalyst for all the crazy shit I feel is going to happen for the rest of this series. And as you said, like the first episode was kind of putting you in, but now it's just full speed ahead for sure. But overall, I did really appreciate this episode. I'll say that. But let's go into the things we loved before we get into the things that were a little sketchy. All right. I'm gonna start with you. Give me one of your first thing that you loved about episode 2.
So one of the things that I loved about episode 2 is Corlys. Now, I don't agree with him trying to get his daughter, his 12-year-old daughter, Lena, to marry Viserys. But I like him as a character because he always is bringing attention to what's important. Now, like last episode, he was talking about the triarchy and how they're taking like the 3 cities and they're going to ruin like sales and the ports and stuff like that. And this time he's still talking about it, but apparently like the head of the triarchy has some crab cannibals. They were reenacting like Jesus being put on the cross, except they weren't putting them on the cross. They were just putting them within the tide so that they would drown. The person that they were nail into the wood would drown, and then also be eaten up by crabs. And especially after on Beyonce's internet, when she made that song and she talked about taking her man to Red Lobster, and then now we're seeing the seafood turning around and eating us. I just did not know how to feel about it.
The seafood are fighting back.
The seafood is fighting back. They're jumping out of the pot. Like,
I will say that was very visceral, seeing all them men covered in Old Bay and sauce in the beginning. It was a lot. And then of course, like they were just trying to show like this guy is to be feared. Like this is I'm not gonna say he's the new king of the White Walkers or anything like that, but like that's what they was trying to make him come off as. It reminded me, actually, for those who watch Walking Dead, of the group that like wears like the skins of the Walker. Like that's his whole situation with the mask and all this stuff. It just reminded me of that.
Yeah, you see, because I don't know if it was a man. Maybe it is a man. I thought it was a woman. So that's why I said...
Oh, it could be a woman. Yeah, you're right.
That's why I was just like, not your Krabby Patty, because that's Krabby Patty to me. The one with the mask.
Oh, like Patty! Krabby Patty! Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Patty.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are they calling them? I'm going to say them since we don't know if it's a woman or a man, but what are we calling them? The crab eater or the crab feeder? Or...
something like this. It's crab something.
Okay.
But I remember, at least in the first episode, they called it the triarchy.
Okay. Well, we're gonna call that person or the big bad, if that's we think is the big bad, Krabby Patty. One of the things that I really loved about this episode is Rhaenyra, or as I call her to keep my people in line, Daenerys Jr. That I needed to use like these other terms for all of these characters. Like the first episode, I was confused as fuck. Like who is this? So I'm starting to get there now. I just mess with her as a person. Like I like her as a character. I like that she's strong. She reminds me of myself, especially as a kid, where it's just like you got a lot to say. You may have some great ideas, but people are like, not yet, child. Like you need some time to grow up. And also like adults just underestimate children or young people a lot in general. So I felt that her when she was going through her thing, and really the main thing about her that I enjoy is we're seeing her journey, how she's learning the way of the crown, learning the way of politics, but at the same time she's starting to insert her own brand of how she's going to get things done. One of the favorite part, when they pulled up on her uncle Damon, and it was clearly about to be all bad. I'm just like, all right, here go with the ego of men, and it's all this puffing up your chest as opposed to just saying what it is. And of course, here come Daenerys Jr. to save the day, flying through on her dragon. She's coming through to essentially shame her uncle, like, fam, what's your problem? You know this shit ain't right. Like, stop fucking around. And she basically said, stop fucking around or do something. And as we saw, her uncle was not really about that life, not about like hurting her or killing her, at least as far as we see. So, she was able to get that done. So that was one of the things that I appreciated. What is your second thing you appreciated, or if you have more?
Yeah, so I also appreciated, in particular, Rhaenyra and Damon's bond, because I feel like the fact that she was able to like come up and just talk to him straight in Valyrian and just be like, what are you trying to do? Because since I'm the crown princess, like you in my house, so why are you up in here? Why'd you take this egg?
Right.
And then she shut him down and found out, that girl, that Miss Arya, his honey trap, is actually not pregnant. So he just had the egg just to have the egg. And
like he was, that's why I was like, what was the reason? Like he was just being funny style just to be funny.
I think he wanted Viserys to come, and that's why he took that particular egg.
He wanted attention. He wanted the clout.
I think he wanted Viserys to come because obviously Otto is controlling controlling Viserys to the point that the only way that Daemon could get a reaction out of Viserys and potentially get him to come and see him about it is doing something involving his dead son.
Yes.
And so that's why Viserys was ready, like, oh, I'm finna go over there. Like, he's gonna know the power and da-da-da-da. And then Otto, like, shut him down. But the thing is, Otto ain't shit neither. Because him and Damon do not mesh at all and
No.
stuff. Because Damon sees through him, and Otto wants to have power, and Damon is like the opposite to that. Like, he's not gonna have the type of power he wants if Damon is actually the crown prince.
Right.
So he's been setting things in motion to make sure that Viserys is not close to Damon, to the point that now, Damon is banished. And so then if Damon actually got what he wanted and Viserys showed up, then they could have actually reconciled. Damon would be back in the picture. Would he become crown prince again? We don't know.
We don't know.
Or whatever. So Otto basically was just like, okay, well, no, I'm gonna go. And since Viserys is chicken shit,
he was like, it's too dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
I mean, Viserys jumped up like he was gonna do something. Like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna come out there myself. And then, like, he was pretty much talked down real easy. Like, nah, that's too dangerous for you, fam. And I'm like, that's your brother, right? Which to me signals that you're scared of your brother. And you're scared, and you don't really have full, like, I know he was yelling at his brother, like, yo, I'm the only one on your side, this, that, and the third. But I think at the end of the day, he's scared of what Damon can do. And while I completely with you where you say, like, Damon sees right through it, he sees the truth. Agreed. The nigga is also psychotic. Let's not get away from the fact that the man's is off his rocker. So you have to be careful for people like that, especially when you not only are you a little off, you are also egotistical and childish. Like, he is a megalomaniac. He's what do they call it? Narcissist.
Yeah.
Absolutely narcissist.
He's all of them. He's all of the therapist terms that y'all find in WebMD, and y'all just decide to name that for yourself and for what's going on with y'all. But he actually is it. Like, he is all of those things. But
he's out of control. So it was, to your point earlier too, that it was really cool. And to me, it's like Targaryen code switching, how she showed up on the dragon, spoken Valyrian, spoken their language. Like, hey, yo, fuck these niggas here. What's your problem? What it is, So I like that.
Right. I mean, I like that as well, because I think that Damon is, despite being all of the different things that he is, I think he does care about his family, and he looks out for his family. And he could have killed Rhaenyra, like, quick if he actually wanted to, but he didn't want to kill her or whatever. And he didn't want people talking bad about Viserys, even though Viserys is bad and stuff. Like, I think he is a lot more loyal than Viserys actually gives him credit. And the thing about it is that, Otto's been, ever since Damon turned Otto's son into Christopher Reeves, okay, Otto's been ready. He's just like, God. Oh no, you put my son in some type of wheelchair. I know I ain't shit, but if you put my son in some type of wheelchair, knocking him off of that joust thing, I'm ready to come for blood. And that's what he wanted to do. Yeah. And he was mad that Rhaenyra shut that down. And he also didn't like Rhaenyra exerting any type of power either, because he just likes to have all the control. But I like their bond, Rhaenyra and Damon's bond together. I think they see eye to eye.
They absolutely do, almost like a brother and sister situation. And I want to just give special shouts to Matt Smith, who plays Damon. You brought up that great scene of when she was basically like, you want the crown, you're going to have to kill me. When Rhaenyra said that to Damon, and Damon looked at her, and I felt it. Like, I felt it could have legitimately went any way. Like, that just, it calls to the acting prowess of Matt, because I was on the edge of my seat a little bit, like, that nigga might do it. Like, I did feel like, their bond is strong. He does love her, and she's really the only person he really fuck with in the family. Yeah. At the same time, I'm like, this nigga's crazy. So I was of the mind that he can just flip and decide, fuck it. So when he did, and it may not have been a more than a 10-second wait, even if that long, but still, it felt like a lot of time passed where he was contemplating. He was contemplating, okay, the pros and cons of actually just murking her. And so then when he did decide, fuck it, I'm just going to walk off and give her the egg, I was like, I stopped. I realized I wasn't breathing for a second. Mm-hmm. So that was just great acting. And it was just a great moment, and really got you to see the complexity with all the wild shit going on in Damon's head and the stuff that he considers or doesn't consider when he makes decisions. So
Right.
that leads to my other two things that I really love about this episode and really about Game of Thrones. What actually to me makes Game of Thrones a great series and why so many people watch is the backstabbing and the
Yeah.
political maneuverings, especially the ones towards one's own self-interest and like what we like, for example, even though we ain't fuck with him, he was a fuck boy. We loved the dumb shit Littlefinger was doing, right? In the
Yeah.
first series, right? And all of the different ways people were playing chess to figure out how do they get positioned, how do they get status and title and station, and then who are they fucking over to get there, right? Or who they fucking to get there. Sometimes that's what it is. So it's just to see that starting to pick up again and fairly early in House of Dragon, or House of the Dragon. Wow, I just really realized when you said House of Dragon, I immediately thought of a ballroom house. I don't know why, but but yeah, like when just seeing that pick up now, it's just getting me excited because like this is the drama that I came for, right? Like someone says, "Oh, marry my daughter because this will be strong," and then as we see with a Hightower, his ass inserting his daughter on the low, like just seeing how all the pieces are getting moved, and then really how people are being used and played like pawns and all this other stuff, and just for people to get closer to the throne at the end of the day, like it's just so interesting to watch how that works and how all the mechanisms fit together.
Yeah, I really like the push and pull of it. I like how like you could be rooting for one character like one week and then the next week you're just like, but I'm really siding with this other character. I want to see how things go, and it's never just like a clear shot of, okay, this is the hero and they're going to like win and it's going to hit some like climactic point and then that's the end. Like it's never like that. Like everything, they just show so many different variables. So it's like, I love that about House of Dragon, that like we're getting that from this show. And then at the same time, it's just like, instead of, or at least the way that it was with Game of Thrones, when we were focusing on so many families, there's enough like bullshit and mess within the Targaryen family that we could just focus on them and it actually makes it like so much easier.
We don't have to go nowhere. We don't have to send a raven. We don't have to go, 45 days to the east. Like all the bullshit's here. Like House of the Dragon is the Maury of the Game of Thrones series.
Yes, it is.
So
it's messy like Maury too.
Love it. This is what I'm here for. And I think that's why it's off to such a strong start because right away you say, oh, we in for the fuck shit. So I'm with it. And my other thing that I love, which everyone loves, dragons. I'm so happy to see both dragons. Do you remember the name of these dragons? I'm still trying to. Cyrax is Homegirls, is Daenerys Jr.'s?
Homegirls.
Okay. And then what is the name of
Damon's dragon? I don't remember.
Why is it so skinny? His is just funny shape to me. It reminded me of the funny looking dragon in How to Train Your Dragon. You know, the little skinny one with like two heads. It's a little shaped poorly. Badly built. It's a bad built dragon. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like maybe I ain't gonna hold you.
Maybe the dragon is as badly built as, Damon's mind is functional or rational.
That would make sense. Look at you.
I'm trying, y'all. I'm not like Portia, but I can put two and two together. So
you be thinking. Speaking of Portia, I don't know about you, Chica. I haven't read none of these books, so I can't tell you what's about to happen next or what to reference it from and all that. That is the wheelhouse of Portia, as far as I know. I don't know if you read anything. So
no, I just watched YouTube videos. Okay. Shout out to Gray Area. I'm a Sweet Summer Child. Who else? Tony Teflon.
Okay.
I'll watch the YouTubers talks about Quinn's ideas back when he used to talk about Game of Thrones. I would watch people and be like, oh, okay, y'all know the books. Okay. I own the books.
Oh, you like George R.R. You're just not gonna finish? You're just not gonna finish?
Yeah. I couldn't finish like the first book. I was just like, damn, this is ooh. I'll try to get through this chapter. I was like, you know what?
that dense? But well, anyway, I say all that
It's
to. I just wanted to just pretty much put a disclaimer out there for people who are listening who are like, well, they don't know shit. Excuse me, I'm watching this series, the TV show, just like everyone
Yes.
else who hasn't read the book. So, we will probably talk with Portia after just to get her take and her viewpoint from someone who understands the books very well. That leads us to the things that we don't or did not appreciate or dislike about episode 2. Tell me one of your things, Sheikah.
Yeah, so okay, well, I mean, I got some heavy ones. So, okay, Viserys' relationship with Rhaenyra.
Not a model father-daughter relationship?
Not, because I really do not understand. So when he cracked open her mother,
you keep saying that. Why do you have to say crack open like that, bro?
Like an egg, like just. I mean, it was more gruesome than an egg, guys. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when Emma was like killed and they took the baby out, whatever, like Daemon was the one that had to tell her, like, oh, you gotta go stand with your father, you gotta go help him. So she had to go save Dracarys so that she could cremate her mother and stuff. And then he just never made attempts to reach out to her post being like, oh, you're my heir because Daemon emasculated me by telling me I'm weak.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wasn't talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, like, he doesn't give her the power. If she's heir, why is she still cupbearer? Like,
yeah, I found that odd. I mean, I knew why. Yeah. Like, we know why, but on the surface. But it's also just like, bro, why?
Right, because like Daemon was able to at least sit with them, you know, even if Rhaenyra was being the cupbearer. The times in the first episode, he was able to sit down and talk to them and then go walk off and do his own thing. And she doesn't get that. And then when Corlys is talking about Krabby Patty and the Triarchy, and she's just like, oh, you just need a show of power. Otto's like, oh, I'm going to shut that down. And the thing is, like, I don't know if he just loves Daemon more, in that when Otto went head to head with Daemon, they would just go back and forth. And then Viserys would just be like, oh, well, you know, like, y'all are like oil and water. Like, y'all just don't come together or whatever. It's fine. But he allowed Otto to shepherd Rhaenyra off. And in a way that was just kind of disrespectful to the role that she's supposed to be. So because she said something that you didn't like, rather than hearing her out or just being like, oh, okay, well, we'll come back and talk about it later, you're going to just take her out of the whole meeting? Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it was typical. It was typical of, I had said it earlier, just how parents or even adults treat younger people, because she's not quite, I mean, she's still technically a child, right? Yeah, like, what is she, 15, he said? She's still a child, but it's also just like, she's not 2, right? Like, she knows what's going on. She is aware and self-aware. And you've just named her your heir. Like, you made people bend the knee to her and all this other stuff. So it's makes me question your motives. Like, did you just do that to spite your brother? Because you really don't have, and Rhaenyra's, what's she, her auntie or whatever? Rhaenyra, the other girl, the other woman, whatever, the one that has basically the same damn name. Like, even when she had that conversation with her, they explained, like, okay, just because they did that, don't believe that anything's going to change for you. Like, it's just all show and tell. It's just for show. And I don't know, Viserys is confusing in that way, because on the one hand, like you said, he's making her still be cupbearer and not really making it serious. Like, he's not being serious right now. But then at the same time, he turns around and gets mad when Rhaenyra dips and is like, you're my only heir. And shaking her and shit. And I'm just like, I thought it didn't matter.
Like, he switches up so much, and it's very annoying, because I think that Rhaenyra especially just needed a fatherly figure. And since Daemon has been like banished, then she literally just has her dad, and he's not being there for her in a way that a dad should be. And then playing it off like, oh, I'm a king, so you should come to me, and everything, which is like bullshit. And
it's
aside
typical
from
dad stuff too, or a typical parent stuff.
Yeah. But to make matters worse, it's like, she's a child, she's a child, she's a child. But that didn't stop you from dipping your wick in her best friend.
First of all, and I have a question because I was confused by that. Had he done that at any point leading up to episode 2, or is it that's just what's about to happen? Because that's what we see in the preview.
This girl has been wearing the same dress. She was wearing the same dress. Musty. She don't even go home.
Medieval times. You know they don't be bathing. So.
She I know that they think washing is optional. They don't even wash their legs. But I mean, the same outfit.
Has it been more than a day? Oh no, it has. They was like 6 months, and she was still wearing the same dress.
She was wearing her dead mama's dress to seduce her best friend's daddy.
Right.
And the thing about it is that he is a venereal. He has a disease. Okay.
Oh, we got to talk about that too.
Pus back, black finger.
Wait.
Okay.
So I'm really trying to understand this. Like, when Otto was like, yo, go keep him company, that's what he meant. He, seduce him and all that. But I just didn't know whether she actually did it prior to Viserys saying, yo, I want her as my new wife.
No, I think she did it because he was pimping her out. He was like, oh, go put on your mama's dress. So he's the one who said, like, oh, go wear her dress.
Yeah.
Go see him at night and everything.
Yeah.
And then because she fixed his Lego set, he's like, oh, I'm going to marry you.
Yeah,
and didn't tell. And I feel like the main thing about it is that he hid it from Rhaenyra because the way that he would disarm Rhaenyra in conversation with her by talking about her mom and the death and how he's still broken up about it. And so she's thinking, oh, we're reaching like an emotional place. Like I can try talking to him about other things. And then she realizes, okay, he has to get married. And she's thinking he has to marry Lena. And so she's like, okay, you have to do it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And because he hid his relationship with Alicent, it just ruined whatever progress that they were having as like father-daughter and everything. Like, you aren't alone. Your mom might be gone, but I'm still. He ruined all of that in a moment because he didn't just tell her like, hey, I don't know. Me and Alicent, we get raunchy to Kids Bop. Like, he just didn't tell her. And
you saw Rhaenyra crumble to pieces. Like at the small council when he looked over and I was like, this nigga's gonna do it. Like as soon as he was like, I picked my wife, I said he is not gonna say that little girl. He gonna fuck shit up. And he turns around, as you say, and looks at her. It looks like Rhaenyra's best friend.
Her best friend.
Her bestie. And says that. And I knew that was going to happen. But what I was not prepared for was the sheer... Like, she just broke. Rhaenyra, and to your point, I just feel Rhaenyra was like, yo, anything I was going to say with this nigga, any trust I had is done. And not just her dad, trusted Alicent. Because, again, these are children. They're 15 or 16, whatever, how old they are. Alicent couldn't say something?
Exactly. That's supposed to be a good... You, like, the fact that she took her to pray, I cannot believe. So you out here doing, like, the horizontal hokey pokey, whatever, with her daddy. And then you go into this, like, house, this prayer place, and you telling her, oh, pray to your mother.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Like, I feel that
you
was
doing the stuff with her daddy. Like, no.
Hypocritical, right? I mean, and again, I don't blame her whatsoever in that part of it, the whole daddy thing, because she's a child and she's being used, and it's disgusting how Otto is using this, right? And she doesn't have true agency in this situation. But I just be like, yo, bro, you couldn't have said something like, I'm your bestie of whoever knows how many years. You couldn't say, hey, yo, I might be your new stepmommy, like something.
Like, I mean, and I thought that they had vibes too, I'm
glad you said that because I was feeling that. The other reason why I felt Rhaenyra was broken was for the obvious reasons we stated, but also because I felt Rhaenyra loved Alicent to a different degree. Like, I thought, like, that was like she would want to be with Allison if she could as a
Right.
partner,
Yeah.
as a romantic partner. That's what I thought. It just and perhaps it's just the way it was shot, and perhaps it was quite on purpose, but it just felt like all of the intimate moments between them. When I say intimacy does not mean sexual. Intimacy
Right.
just means just being, can also mean just being close to someone and sharing moments that you wouldn't share with other people. The way Rhaenyra was very open and close to Allison when they were laying in the
Yeah.
fields.
And touchy and stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
And Rhaenyra like clearly like trust this girl beyond measure. And then
Yeah.
even at the sept when they were praying, and I don't know, that was where they was holding the hands or whatever, and the camera zoomed in to the prolonged hand holding.
Yeah.
It just felt like Rhaenyra was like that was like Allison's her person in that way.
Yeah. That was her person. They
So
just weren't doing anything. Well, I don't know if they were I don't think they were doing anything.
Who knows, right? And they're so young, and that's the part about so that my belief of that, coupled with the fact that that's her father didn't give her no heads up, didn't give her nothing, doesn't even speak to her about stuff, and when she tries, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Put all that mixed together, and then to turn around and be like, hey, yo, I'm going in on your bestie. Ugh.
In front of everyone, like
nasty work.
You couldn't tell her without these other people around, so she could at least like you couldn't do that, and it was just so messy, and it's like, girl, like
nasty
he cut open your mama, and then now he's going anyway. Let me not.
Yeah, it's okay. let me go on to, because we've been talking a long time about Viserys' dumbass. Let's talk about two of the things I did not like, because they're a little bit shorter. So one, ignoring the black man, specifically the only black man that I see so far, Corlys. I was with him. He, even though it was once again fucked up shit, and your daughter's even younger, he did, and his wife made all the perfect points. And made the most sense, even if it was for personal gain. Their whole idea was like, yo, we have real Valyrian blood, pure Valyrian blood. We just as strong, if not as we're just as strong or stronger than the Targaryens.
They're the richest family.
They're richer than Targaryen. Like the richest, it made sense. And even the maesters and the other niggas was like, yeah, that's the right idea, right? And not only that, like, from the Viserys side of things, as the Maester was saying, was like, yo, you'll permanently have Corlys at your side if you do that, because you don't have to really worry about him backstabbing you. You have married his daughter, like he's not gonna fuck you over. Like, you pretty much have strength in everything, in every arena. But as I said before, I also particularly hated that him and his wife offered up their 12-year-old daughter, because when they were talking about her, I had in my mind, I'm like, this girl gonna be young. And then when they showed that little baby with that goddamn mop on her head, I did not like that wig. But when they showed that little baby girl, I was just like, all right. It was disgusting. And I was just like, the things that they do to get ahead is outrageous. And
right.
then go ahead, Lord.
Like, the thing about it for me is just that especially when she was telling Viserys, like, I will give you many children, I was just like, like,
yeah, it was.
I was like, no. And then he asked her, okay, well, what did your mom say? And he was like, well, the mom said that he wouldn't do anything till she's 14. Which, I mean, is technically like better, because Allison is just a year older than that or whatever. So he's still messing with kids regardless. But it's just like,
all this is gross. And I also wonder how that, I understand this is fiction, and it's also based on, even though it's fantasy fiction, it's also based on the shit that would go down even up until this day, that would go down in the medieval times and so on and so forth, especially in dynasties and monarchies and things like that. So I just wonder how the actors felt, like, just as a person, like, damn, I'm like courting this child. And and I know the actors are not, at least not the little girl, but like Allison and them, maybe they're older, maybe they're in their 20s or whatever, but like, I couldn't get with it. And it's like, you gotta like show romantic feelings towards a child. Ooh.
Right. And like, the thing is, I think that I think his name is Patty, Viserys' actor. He did a good job showing how uncomfortable he was walking with Elena. Yes, I was uncomfortable by the conversation, by her terrible hair. That wig
was atrocious. Like, It was some Miss Frizzle Hayao Miyazaki shit. Like, what the fuck is this?
Where is Kim Kimble? HBO? Where is Arrogant Tay? Where is Touched by Tokyo? Where I could list people. I could even list regular black hairstylists.
I was gonna say, you don't even need to list the big ones. Go on wig, how to lay a wig on YouTube, and the first 5 results, that's good enough.
Right. Go on Style Seat.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It was a lot for me.
So, that wig. That's annoying, and I don't understand. For a series that has over $20 million budget, that's the best y'all niggas could do.
Yeah, for
y'all
real.
threw that big, and it wasn't just a wig; it was a big ass wig that they threw on that little baby head. I was so
and
mad.
It looked like a granny wig. It looked
yes. I don't. Okay. The other thing I did not like. You know what, Damon? I both. And it's complicated. I fuck with Damon just from a comedy entertainment perspective, but also don't like him because his ego, his emotions, his pettiness, his childishness is what's going to bring down one of the things that will bring down his family, and mainly Rhaenyra. Like, if he loves and fucks with Rhaenyra as much as he clearly does, at least up until now, he's going to cause unnecessary danger. He's going to cause downfall. Just his methods is going to be a problem. Versus if he would just calm the fuck down. And so that's why I both love him and I don't really fuck with him. And also, I told you this is how I was remembering people. He reminds me of like Draco Malfoy mixed with Joffrey. So I've been calling him like Joffrey. But it's like he's my nigga, but he's not.
He's not. Like, and stuff. And like, the thing is, I know that this just takes me out. I didn't list this as one of the things I didn't like. But him going back to Miss Arya and them having that conversation. I don't know what accent they try to make that girl do, but she should not do it no more. Yeah, I was just kind of like, what? Like, and you know how
I was confused by that accent. Was it trying to be like she was from, South America / Middle East / like, where was she supposed to be from?
But when she was talking, like, you know how you sometimes you squint to hear things? Like, that's what I was doing.
I'm so glad I had the subtitles on, because I was like, what is this woman saying? It was weird. Is this the new, it's too dark? Is this I don't know what this person is saying?
Just right. Like, just like, bear, like, what?
Yeah, it was weird. I'm glad you mentioned that bothered me.
I didn't like it. But when it comes to Damon, I feel like there wasn't enough of him in this episode, because Viserys and his back and forth bullshit is annoying. I think he could get the Ned Stark treatment. I'm ready for him to die because he already has that stuff on his back. He's got his little black finger.
What is that? What is that? Like, it's on his finger now? Is it? Right. They call it the rot, but is it like grayscale or something's going on?
No. So the thing is, I think that the throne is.
Chica said word on the street.
Right. Word on the street. I'm not Portia, but pseudo today. Like, the throne is rejecting him. And so that's why his ass is getting cut up, because he makes the wrong decisions. And so when he kicked Damon out and stuff, knowing the way Otto Hightower is, the throne was like, oh, I'm finna your finger, okay? And now you have this random black finger, and they put in that shit in maggots and
Yeah, anyway. That was nasty. So the throne is sentient, and it was like, stupid ass nigga. And then she like, that was a dumb move.
Okay, like, oh, you need somebody to hold you back from going to talk to your blood ass brother. Wow. For real. He's gonna keep getting cut. I feel like if somebody doesn't kill him, he's going to die from all of these cuts from the throne, because he makes the wrong decisions every episode. Right. Like,
I mean, that's a great assessment, that it could be the throne himself rejecting him. I was also thinking maybe like niggas like Otto, are they like poisoning him or fucking with him, in his sleep?
Possibly. Well, no, because I don't think it is. I think they're trying to help him, because they need Alicent to be with Child before they really be like, okay, like, let me figure out how to kill this man off.
Right, before they off him. Got it.
Right, and stuff. And I honestly think when it comes to the people talking about how he should be with Lena, well, I guess it's sort of deeper than that. One, I think if Daemon was still around, that Alicent thing wouldn't have happened. Because Daemon keeps enough watch on Viserys that he would have been like, Viserys needs his daughter to be near him after his wife died, not her best friend or whatever. And so Otto getting him out of the way, he was able to push forward that plan. Then when it came to people talking about him getting with Laena, Otto knows that Viserys is a selfish person. He gets it. And so he knows that at the end of the day, he's king, but Viserys is going to do what he wants to do. So he'll have, okay, let me go pimp out my daughter. My daughter's going to go over and talk to him, like nobody got to know or whatever. But my daughter's going to go talk to him. And then we're going to have the maester guy, the maggot priest man. He's going to be like, oh yeah, Laena, that's a good idea. But he's really just like playing the field of, oh, I'm going to tell you what the right thing is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have somebody else that, child, what is that man?
All these names.
And the council.
Just describe them at this point.
Yeah. So like, it's like a Baratheon looking man, but he's not a Baratheon, but he's on the small council. I don't
He's
remember
thick.
He's a thick man.
The thick one, yeah.
So he also got him being like, yeah, like Laena would be a good choice, and it is a good choice. But Otto knew, okay?
Otto knew. Such a slimy man.
He was like, I'm gonna have my daughter rebuild his little Lego set, and we clinched the marriage. I'm gonna
call Otto Littlefinger light. Cause he be doing shit on a low, but he don't be as bold as Littlefinger, at least not yet. So Littlefinger light for him.
Yeah.
And the one last thing I want to say about stuff I don't like, and I see that that's just how this series is being built. The idea of patriarchy as a plot device. Let me explain what I mean by that. Like, I understand Man is primarily the writer on this. I don't know if there's any other people there, but I find it corny and boring that for a story that's completely fictional and fantasy, where you have dragons and magic and this and that we have to fall back on the idea that patriarchy is the only driving factor for all these characters and the reason why things happen or don't happen. And
right.
I don't know. I just find it boring. Like, and not the series. The series is fine, but that idea that, oh, we're going to be watching how the women, and even though it's cool scenes, how the women band together and how they deal with the patriarchy and how people don't listen or don't want a queen because patriarchy. I'm just like, haven't we done this already in every genre?
And the thing about it is that we've done this. We do this in real life right now. So thanks, Ryan Kahn. Thank you for reminding us that in the U.S., women do not have control over their bodies, okay? In certain states, okay? And when it comes to all of that with the Emma scene, the torture and horror of that. Thanks for also reminding us that, Black people can be telling you, okay, this is what's going on.
And no one listens to us.
And nobody listens until it's already too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
It's too late.
And I completely understand, because people are probably disagreeing with me, and that's fine. I don't care. But I understand, like, that's just how the world of Game of Thrones has been built, and that's why it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense in that context. But it's like, could we have been a little bit more imaginative to see what other drivers could be used as writing tools and telling these stories and all that stuff. I was just curious if it could be something else beyond that. And that's really what I'm questioning. So that being said, I'm still enjoying it. It's just something I just thought through, like, well, is this the only thing we got to think about? And the other reason why I thought that was, after all the episodes are over, I don't know if you watched them, but those little quick, like 2-3 minute things.
I watched it this time.
You watched them? Okay. So I watched each of those. And like, even from the first one, they say it, and they were like, yeah, women have it bad, and this is what they got to go through. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, I heard this story. Like, I get it. So could be something new, but it is what it is. Did you have any other things you did not like about this episode, or anything else you wanted to mention?
Something I want to mention. We do have a mini segment called Chaos is Coming, where we sort of talk about foreshadowing and everything. But before we get into that, I would like to, I guess, give an honorable mention to Allison, the Red Keep City girl that is now going to become queen.
The Red Keep City Girls, what you call her?
She's the Red Keep City girl.
City
okay?
Girls up 1,000.
1,000. Okay, before there was Carisha, there was Allison. Like,
Oh my
okay.
God.
But the thing about it is, so she got herself a king. Now, he might have all of these diseases and whatever else, but she still got herself a king. But I really like that you can see that Allison is like kind of fucked with in the head, because Otto is telling her, is pimping her out, and she clearly doesn't want to do it, but she does it because she doesn't have like a choice, or she doesn't feel like she has a choice.
She doesn't feel like she has a choice, and she technically doesn't, right? Like, talk about the patriarchy. What are you gonna do? Say no? I mean, she could run away. She could do stuff, and well, she does self-mutilation,
right? Because she'd be eating up her cuticles, and like the thing about it is when Viserys was like talking about Lena to her and everything, she's just like, oh, I'm sure she's gonna have like great times with you, which great way to like, you deflect by being like, oh yeah, you do this, and then they'll like you. It's like an old tactic in the book, but still, when she was doing that and he was just like, I appreciate our talks, and like you see her face, the honorable mention is because she has so many emotions going through her face. Like, she's smiling, and he's like, he sees that, but he doesn't see that it's like a tremulous, like her eyes are like a little like shaking. And then they pan down to her hands, and she starts pulling on her hands and stuff because she wants to get at them cuticles again and stuff. And so I like the fact that they show that for Allison, that they show that she's struggling and stuff. Not that Rhaenyra is really going to see all of that because they kept it from her. Facts. But it's not some easy decision, even though she is a city girl. But
and I wonder just will there be a point where it's less tumultuous for her, right? Where it's where she does accept it, and I guess when she gets older, even after she has a child, like, is it going to turn like mentally in her head, like where she's like, oh, she starts feeling, like she feeling like Cersei or something like that, where she one step closer to greatness or something like that. Like, I wonder if that's going to happen, or if she's gonna pretty much just remain to how she is now, where it's just like she's also scared. She's scared to death. Yeah. Like, she's a child being pushed into this direction, and that direction, like we mentioned, chaos is coming, as we see in the preview for the next episode. We see that it looks like they have a son, her and Viserys, and again, I feel like Alicent might be on that just accept me now tip when it comes to Daenerys Jr., and she's just like, look, this is just how shit is, and just deal with it. What else do you see in the chaos that's coming foreshadowing?
I think one, and we also see it in the preview, that Krabby Patty is coming for that ass. She is unleashing all and stuff, all of them. It don't even gotta be, because I know people think STDs, but this is legit crabs. Like, she's releasing her crabs to eating people, having people they're gonna eat up, and like, it literally does take a show of force, and Corlys is out there because it's like, y'all gonna mess with my money. Let's not mess with the black man's money. Okay, so he's out there in his gear, and Daemon's out there because Corlys went over to Daemon. As soon as he found out that Viserys wasn't gonna marry his 12-year-old daughter, he was like, you gotta do something, like, this is how you can help, and which we'll see how that pans out. Who knows if Daemon's actually going to do anything or whatever. I mean, he is, but we don't know the timeline of it.
Daemon's the type that, to me, would walk up to somebody and be like, "Scared money don't make money." Like, I just feel like he about it. Like, it's just, the scary part is just you don't know when he's gonna do shit and whether it's gonna be on your side or not.
He's gonna snap. And I was like, you know something, because of the fact he's so loyal to his family, I'm wondering, but his family, specifically Viserys and Rhaenyra, I'm wondering if something happens to one of them, and that's when we're gonna see him snap.
Okay. Okay.
Not necessarily it being from him, but somebody else does something to them.
Yeah.
And then he snaps.
I feel like with nobody else, he gonna hurt his girl. The one that speaks Spanish Irish. That one, she ain't gonna make it. I just don't see it for her.
I don't see it for her neither. Man.
I don't see it for her.
That little scene in the first episode, it didn't do nothing for me.
I don't see it for her, but I don't think she's gonna make it. And Rhaenyra, like, at least for the time being, like, they're gonna keep trying to put her in a box.
Yeah, I think they're gonna continue to confine her role because Otto finally got what he wanted. Mm-hmm. He said that he wanted Rhaenyra to be the crown princess, but he really just wanted his daughter to get with the king. And he's been ready for that to happen. And now that his daughter had a male heir, it's just like, you're actually just a placeholder now, you know, which maybe that's why Viserys is so pressed about her getting married. Because if she gets married and she has a kid, then
she's going to skip, right? All that bullshit.
Then it's not going to go to Alicent's son.
Yeah.
But...
Well, it's too late now.
It's too late. It's too late now. Yeah.
Right. And then we'll get to see how much time has passed between, because from episode 1, episode 2 was 6 months. So we wonder how much time will pass between, you know, with now and episode 3, since we're seeing that they have this child, and it could be real quick. At least 9 months, right? So, but it could be real quick. And with that, thank you everyone for listening to Castle Black. Again, the Blackest Game of Thrones, and this time around, House of Dragon podcast in all of the realms. Thank you so much to Chica. Thank you for letting me join you this week. And thank you to everyone who is cool with our musical chairs of hosts this time around when we're doing our Castle Black review. Please, for everyone who loves what you hear, loves to support us, there's a few ways you can do that. Hit up our TeePublic page, tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds. That is our merch page. That's where you can get really cool things, such as Chica's Views from the 616 t-shirt. That design can be built on a variety of items, such as hoodies, shirts, sweatshirts, books, masks, the whole 9 yards. You can get that and a bunch of other incredible, beautiful designs. Thank you to everyone who's already bought some stuff. Please keep buying. This is what we need. We need that support. Thank you to also everyone who has been hitting us up on the patreon.com/forallnerds. That is how you help us. That's probably the most important way to help us. That is how we do all the cool things we're able to do. That's how we are able to pay our staff and our teammates. Chica's one of our teammates. She is also our social media editor, our social media manager, editor, engineer. I don't know what words you want to use, but you got all of them. But in order to get the great things she do, we got to pay the girl. So, the way we do that is through you, all right? Through our patrons. So again, patreon.com/forallnerds. Every tier is a great tier. And you get special privileges, including discounts on our TeePublic page. If you don't know what that discount's about, hit us up. We'll let you know. And as always, please make sure you're following us. Follow Castle Black Pod on the Twitters. Follow For All Nerds, which powers this podcast, on the socials. That's all over the social media landscape. Follow Views from 616 if you're interested in how we move, but you want to hear it from the MCU perspective. Views from 616 on Twitter. Please follow me as well. I'm at Tatiana King all over the interwebs. Chica, what is your at?
My at is at Chica Supreme, and that is Chica with a K, not 2 C's, guys.
Oh, you forgot 2 C's. That's funny. And always make sure you are following us. We are on every podcast platform imaginable. Follow For All Nerds in order to listen to Castle Black and also listen to our beautiful voices. And also to see our beautiful faces, go to Twitch, twitch.tv/forallnerds, as well as our YouTube, youtube.com/forallnerdstv. All right. So we are going to be back next week with episode 3 of Game of Thrones, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah. See you guys.